Okay, so we're talking with, of course, Chris Anderson, author of Free. And the question I have for you, first of all, is...
You're not going to explain why we are in the car?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
But I have a question for you, 3 questions in particular,
Yeah.
in fact. Out of all your research and your own experience, actually using the freemium model for your own book, what works?
What works? Well, I wish I could give you a simple answer, but it depends on what you mean by works. Do you mean awareness? Do you mean readership? Do you mean money? Do you mean money now, money later? So free works terrifically for awareness. If you want people to be aware of the book and familiar with it, and to at least sample it on some level, free is great. So if your problem is obscurity, free is a good start. Now it's not a silver bullet. Free is a necessary but not sufficient condition that you need. In addition to that, you need word of mouth, and people need to. But people, to recommend it. But people are more likely to tweet and blog and etc. About something, encouraging your friends to check it out if it's free. So it's just a link. Here it is. Check it out. Maybe even a link to specific pages. That helps. So, from an awareness perspective, free is kind of a no-brainer. But ultimately, you're trying to sell books, and I think what works there is what works best is getting your window right. Not free forever. Not necessarily free everywhere, but using free for what it's best at, which is to get this burst of publicity of sampling, and then quickly sort of saying, okay, that was the free window. At this point, we're going to start dialing it back. Maybe it's not the whole book free. Maybe it's just a chapter. Maybe it's not free in every form. Maybe it's not free on every platform. Maybe it's not free at all anymore, and you just have to buy it. But at this point, you've gotten your PR boost.
Right. So does that translate, though, into sales? And if so, what ratio would you say?
In the freemium equation, in general, 5% is amazing, and 1% is probably more realistic. So let's say you're shooting for a 1% conversion rate, okay, and you want to sell 10,000 books. So at this point, you need to what is it? You need what is that? What does that make it? You need 1% of 10,000 is 100,000. So you need to
like $1 million, right?
You need I think a million. So 10,000 is you need $1 million downloads. So that's hard to get. That's very hard to get. Even free isn't at $1 million yet. Now that's converting from the free to the paid. Now, there are other ways that people would buy books. It might be that they didn't sort of read the free and then convert to the paid. It might be that they just heard about the book somewhere else and went straight to the paid. What you need to do is track. In every free form should have a very simple buy that buy button ought to be right there front and center. We didn't always get that right. Secondly, you need to track that. How many people then clicked on the buy button from that? So let's say that 1% of those readers buy the books. Now the correct question is how does that translate to people who didn't sample the free version, who just heard about it through other means, reviews or whatever. In our case, most we sold more than 1%, but I can't tell you that more than 1% of the free readers converted. What I can tell you is that those free readers turned into word of mouth, which ultimately turned into sales. But unfortunately, the analytical tools aren't good enough to tell you how it happened.
So what does not work?
What does not work? Having too many products, too many versions in the marketplace, so people are confused. Making it not easy, not clear that there was an easy upgrade path to free. Having a free version up there for too long, which sort of satisfies the demand, even though people may not even be reading the whole thing. They sort of feel like they've got it. What doesn't work? We had problems with geographic restrictions. Saying it's free and then having Brazilians complain that it wasn't free to them, which is totally unfair. It should be free to them, but that's not the way the book industry works. Other things that didn't work. You think you can find all the versions people want, and it turns out, but where's the downloadable PDF? You jerk, that I can print out. And it's like, it's really hard to satisfy everybody at the same time. So I would say that in particular, be sensitive to the international audience. And the internet's a global phenomenon, and if you say it's free, but it's only free to Americans, you're going to get some pushback.
Right. So I have one more question for you. If I'm a novelist and I want to use this freemium model as a novelist, I mean, it's easy sort of in a way to use it for nonfiction books.
Right.
But how do you use that to translate into, first of all, exposure, and second of all, book sales as a novelist?
You know, great question. I wish I knew. There are people who are doing that experiment. I would say that you know, one of the interesting things that we don't do enough is packaging of various books. So let's say you're a novelist of with several books. The idea of buy my latest book and you get all my previous books in digital form for free, that seems like a good way to do it. Or you could say, maybe you know, 2 for the price of 1, or you know, because if the books are in digital form, the price is arbitrary. You can charge any price you want. So I don't know whether just sort of saying, here's my new book, it's free, check it out, is necessarily going to be successful. Especially if you do it on the web, it's kind of not the right place to be reading fiction books. I don't think a free Kindle book download for a limited window is a bad thing. I think that can be good. I think that can stimulate some sampling and sales. People like Cory Doctorow have experimented with serializing their book and releasing it in free chapters. Maybe I'm just not, I don't know, that kind of reader, but I found that kind of hard work. So that wasn't the way you can go. Maybe even the audiobook can be free and you sell the physical book. All options worth trying.
Great. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Let's